Testing, testing. Good afternoon to all the good people out there. How are we? I just got out of work. And we're going to see about catching some of this New York session. New York session meaning the New York session when all the big banks and big institutions in the market are trading. That is when there is the most volume. Hold on, let me fix my camera here. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right. Let me turn this light on. What's going on, y'all? What is going on? 12:29 p.m. For all my people, what a work day. You're on early. Love to see it. 100%. It is a blessing to be able to have gotten out of work early enough to still be able to stream the trades I take today. For the people, we got a new follower in the chat. What's going on? What is going on? Shout out to you, and hopefully you can pick up some good knowledge here. We're just gonna review last week. Last week I wanted to stream the rest of the week, but I wasn't able to because of work. But we finished out the week last week pretty well. So my last stream was on the 10th, and we hit the daily loss limit that I have set for my account. And, that was my first red day since we started streaming here. Actually, since I've started this account. And, I was able to come in on Wednesday. And so basically each trading day starts the day before at 6 p.m. So after the trading day ended for me on the 10th, from 6 p.m. on the 10th up until 4 p.m. on the 11th, this was the overall balance that I ended up with after that day. So on the 12th, we took a loss here. And then I took a few trades today while I was at work. And we're just negative about $28 at the moment, which will change shortly here, considering we could get into a good position. But yeah, it's not looking too bad. We can just break down what I'm actually doing for all the new viewers here. So this account that I'm trading on is from the company called TopStep. And basically what this company is called a prop firm. So what these prop firms do is basically give capital to retail traders. Myself and yourself would be a retail trader. And basically they open their platform and their capital to people who are interested in trading, so that not only the company can make money, but so that the specific trader can learn to be consistent and profitable. So basically, let's see if we were going to start a new one, right? So there's the standard and the no activation fee. So with the standard, so basically an account that you can purchase with this company is an account where they give you 50K in buying power, and it costs $49. So $49, and they give you 50K to trade with. And the overall purpose of starting trading like this is so that you can earn capital for yourself through trading, so that you could then start your own live account with your actual money. So basically, I purchased this account. They gave me 50K to trade with. So as you guys can see here, let's go back to the dashboard. So yeah, we started with 50K. Now the profit target for the account is 53,000, right? So basically what the company wants to see sorry, hold on. We got some action going on here. Hold on, y'all. Let me lock in. So right now, let me try to explain what I'm looking at. Right now, I am looking at silver. So the silver reserve in the United States, this is the market for it. So what I trade, I don't trade stocks or options like most people. What I trade is futures. And basically what futures are is basically contracts for whatever instrument it is that I'm trading. So basically what I'm trading is contracts to own portions of the silver reserve in the future. So I am not technically owning anything when I'm getting into these trades. I am just making revenue off of the value of the contracts for that specific instrument. The instrument I'm looking at now being silver. And when it says silver, it's just the silver reserve of the US. And right now, like basically 1 ounce of silver from the silver reserve in the US is priced at this price here on the right. So when I'm looking at this chart, that is what I'm looking at, the value of 1 ounce of what's going on. Appreciate it. Hope you stick around. Hope you're learning some things. We're gonna get into a little breakdown here and talk about my strategy and what I look for in terms of a setup when it comes to trading. But yeah, so as of right now, I'm looking at silver futures. We got a lot going on right now, but I want to see price come back down into these areas here and close below these imbalances, basically the areas where 100% sellers are. And once we see price come back into these areas, we can anticipate the sellers to continue to have control and push price down. But we got a little pullback here, which is normal. And yeah, price is doing this thing right now, so we're gonna let it do what it do. So yeah, with this Top Step account, yes, I started at 50K. Right, so I paid $50 for them to give me 50K of their money. Now I'm using their money to trade, and they want to see me trade with their money and make profit up until 53,000. Right now, once I get to 53,000, they will then say that I passed the combine. I passed a combine before, but the account that I did have at the time, I ended up losing too much. And when you lose too much, they restrict you from being able to trade on the account as well. So It teaches you good discipline. It teaches you how to have rules for yourself, even though the rules are automatically set for you. But it's good. I feel like it's good to have these things, because once you do get an account on your own, you want to have a good foundation in terms of how you should be trading, and what rules to have set. So let's go back to the dashboard, right? So yeah, so once you reach the 53K, it then says you pass the combine. Now, once you pass the combine, right? So once you reach the 53,000 profit target, you can then use that $53,000 to continue to trade. But now the difference is the profits that I'm making are mine. So I can start to keep the money once I get the trading combine passed, right? Now, as far as keeping the money, there's also some restrictions for that as well. And basically, let's go to the help center, and then we'll look at payout policy, right? So the top step, payout policy. So once you reach the profit target, they allow you to take what's called a payout after earning profits, right? So basically, the system that I'm set up in is where on the standard path, so I'm on the standard account path, and what they want to see from me after reaching the $53,000 profit target, they want to see me have 5 winning days of at least $150. Now, it doesn't have to be 5 days in a row. So basically, if I did already hit the profit target, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, no, these two wouldn't count, right? Because it's not 150 or more. But 1, 2, 3, these 3 days would count towards the 5 total winning days of $150 that's required of me before I can request my first payout, right? Now, what it says is that the request is 50%, so I can request up to 50% of the account balance up to $5,000. So what that would mean is this, right? So say I was at the profit target of 53,000, and I did my 5 days of 150 or more, and at the end of doing the 5 days, I end up with, let's just say, I don't know, ballpark, let's just say 63,000, right? So let's say I end up with 63,000 after those target days are done. I can request up to half of whatever I made after reaching these 5 winning days. So it doesn't have to be 150. It can be more than that. But they just want to see at least 5 days of 150 or more before the first payout. Now, for my second payout, I won't have to follow the 5-day rule. The only rule I would then have to follow is to make sure that, okay, so if I was at 63,000 and I did my first payout and they gave me 5,000, so that would put me at what? 58. So that would put me at 58,000, right? So I did my first payout. My balance of my account is now 58,000. So the only other rule for payouts would just be before I request my next one, they want to see me have more than what my balance was after my first payout. So they want to see me have more than 58,000 after my first payout, and so that I can get my second one. So so it says payout caps by account size, right? So I have the 50K account size. So the maximum that I can request every 5 days, or no, not every 5 days, after the first 5 days, and then every payout after that, the most that I can request is 2,000 with the 50K standard account. And what I actually have is this, right? So it says limited time offering. So the daily loss limit account. So like I was explaining to you guys this day, right? My daily loss limit that was set was $1,000. So basically what that means is in one day, it locks me out of my account if they see I reach $1,000 in losses. So that account right now is, one, on sale, but then two, they also give double payout caps for the people with those accounts. So originally my payout cap, once I reach the profit target, would be 2,000. But because I have this specific account, oh, hold up. Where are we at? All right, we're gonna break all this down. I'm just trying to make sure I'm reacting correctly while trying to explain this basis here to you guys. So right now I am on the road to passing the combine that I'm in right now, and currently I am at what? So boom, currently I am at 52.45. So yeah, hold up. Give me 1 second, y'all. There we go.
Order filled.
And where are we at? Point of control would be 7.70.30. Okay. All right. Let's explain that, right? All right. So what am I seeing? First off, over here, right? So on the bigger time frame, right? I'm seeing price is on an uptrend. Let me get rid of this for right now. I may be getting stopped out of this trade here, but this was just to try to catch this little bit of volume that I seen on that other chart that I'll explain a little bit more. But I want to start here by just showing you guys that. So the market is in an uptrend right now, right? And we can determine that based off of what we see. These symbols are not symbols, they're called candlesticks, right? The actual term for it is a candlestick. And these candlesticks represent a specific time frame at a specific price point. So it shows where price was at a specific time and what price action occurred. So what we're seeing is the value of this instrument being silver futures. We're seeing it make, so we had a low point here, and then we made a high here, and now we made another low point in price, but this low point was higher than the previous low point. Now we came back up and we made another high point, and this high point is higher than the previous high point. Now over the weekend and throughout Sunday up until now, we had price come all the way up here and create another high. We created a low here, but this low isn't lower than the previous, right? And now we created another high, which is higher than the previous high. So higher highs and higher lows is what shows us that price on a specific instrument is in an uptrend. Now, when people refer to uptrends, they refer to it as bullish, right? So they say the word bullish because when bulls attack, they have their horns, they kind of like swing up, right? They attack by charging at you and swinging up with their horns. So because of the terminology uptrend and bulls swinging up to attack, that's why they call it a bullish trend. So me seeing that we're in a bullish trend, right? Now, the next thing I'm looking for is what, right? So this is my strategy through and through. Now, I'm not sure what level everyone is in terms of trading. I'm not sure if you're very beginner, if you have no idea what certain terms mean, or what it is you're looking at. Hopefully, sounds like you're in New York. It's because I got all these cars driving outside of my house. I got a very busy street outside of my house. Let me know if it's affecting anything in the stream though. Like if you guys can't hear me, or if the video is being affected for any reason. We're gonna get stopped out here, but it's all good. I was looking at the volume and we could see some good volume on the smaller time frame, but the larger time frame is showing the pullback, and typically we want to see price have some support at this area here, because this is where buyers stepped in previously. But okay, right, in terms of my strategy, what do I look for? Now, what I look for are these things specifically. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Let me know if you guys need a better explanation on certain terms and why I'm doing what it is I'm doing. But I will try my best to explain it so that you don't have to ask questions. Nah, we green. Say no more. Say no more. Yeah, we're going to get stopped out here, but it's all good. I was expecting it to come down deeper into this support level, but I wanted to try to catch it early, which I thought I was doing, but turns out not, right? Or we'll see. But okay, so I didn't mark this chart out, but I did see it with my eyes, and because we're on stream here, I definitely want to break this down. So we see on the higher time frame already that price is bullish, right? So price is on an uptrend. So anytime I am looking to get into a trade, it is in confluence or in alignment with the higher time frame, because the higher time frame is a stronger time frame, and it's a stronger time frame because the candlesticks have larger time within each candle. So right now I am on the 15-minute time frame. So what that means is when I'm looking at this chart, these candles are representing 15-minute intervals. Okay, so we're at this candle here, and this candle started at 12:15. You guys can see the time down here at the bottom, right? So as I hover over the chart, it'll pop up. So this candle here opened at 12:15. Now, what the candles mean. So this is a red candle, right? So it's a red candle. So that means price opened. So price opened at this point here, the top of the body of this candle. So this is where this candle started, right? And now the bottom of the body of this candle is where price ended within that 15-minute time frame. So all of these candles are showing the same information, but because the price or the value of whatever instrument changes over time, that's how you see what we see here. And this would just be called price action, right? So actions that price of this instrument is taken. So in terms of the price action for this instrument, we know that it is in a bullish trend. So what I look for specifically, right? What I look for specifically is for a couple things. And we're going to try to explain as best I can why. So we see this high point created here, and then we see the pullback also occur. Now, price came down after going up, right? So it came down to this point here before shortly going back up, and then going down some more and breaking below this previous low point, right? So in price action and just overall market structure basics, for me to believe that a trend is going on, it needs to follow the structure, right? So boom, we're gonna start down here, right? So for me to say that this is a bullish trend, right, an uptrending market, we need to see higher highs and higher lows, just like I explained a couple minutes ago, right? Now, boom, we got a high here, and now we have a low point here, but this low point is higher than this previous low point. And now we have another high point created, which is higher than the previous high point here, right? Now we come down and we create a low that is higher than the previous low, but then what happens? Price fails to go up and create a higher high, right? So not only does it fail to go up and create a higher high, it then comes down below the previous low. So in market structure basics, right, for a trend to be called a trend, it needs to follow price action, market structure basics. And basically, that, like, what that would mean for an uptrend is that it has to create higher highs and higher lows, not lower lows than the previous, right? So we have that here. We have a lower low formed after what seemed to be an uptrend, right? Now, why do I look for this specifically? So one thing is this: understanding that the market is literally made up of people. So if there were no people in the world to trade this market, we would not see the price action that we're seeing. Same as the market structure, right? Because price got to its highest point, created a higher high than the previous, and then it created a higher low. But then there weren't enough buyers in the market to continue to push price up. So because the buying pressure, or the people who are in the market that are buying to make price go up, because that pressure is getting weaker, we see that the sellers stepped in very strong and then pushed price to this point before going up. Now, why did this happen, right? Because if this is an uptrend, isn't it supposed to follow the market structure, right? It's supposed to make higher lows, not a lower low and then create new highs. So why did this happen, right? So why did this specific action here happen? It's because there are other people in the market trading. So now, because everyone, let's say we don't see this part here, right? So because everyone is seeing what's going on, because everyone's seeing what's going on in terms of the trend, right? They see that this higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So now what are people anticipating, right? A higher high to be made. So when they get into a trade, what they'll do is they'll go in for a buy, right? So they'll go in for a buy, and okay, so look, literally the same thing that I'm talking about now is happening in reverse to the
Order
downside.
filled.
Yes, okay. So hold on. Let me, cuz that's what I closed that out by accident. Wait, run that back. Dang, I don't know how to pull that that little section back up. I needed that. Hold up. How do I bring that back? All right, hold on. Let's close without saving. Open a new layout. All right, there we go. All right. Where we at? Nah, that's not strong enough. We're going to talk about this chart here too. Hopefully get you guys a better understanding of overall what I'm looking at. But I wanted to start from the beginning and start as basic as possible, just to get you guys the overall understanding here. And we are actually about to get in. Yeah, I want to see a candle close below this area here, just to show me that the orders that are being placed are fulfilled, to be able to then, okay, yep, we got it.
Order filled.
There we go. We're gonna bring this back. All right, and we're seeing a lot of selling pressure here, but if we see a lot of selling, so okay, so let me try to break this down. All right, so what I'm looking at, right? What I'm actually looking at is the, okay, so it looks like, oh, so look, we had a lot of selling pressure, but price failed to go down here. So that is showing me that even though we had, okay, so in this candle here, what this chart is showing me is the actual volume within the candle. So it's showing me this 119. It's showing me the actual amount of contracts or orders that are being traded within this candle. So this time frame that I'm looking at is a 1 minute time frame. So within this one candle here, this candle here, what this chart is showing me that there was 119 hold up.
Order filled. Order filled.
All right, I had to switch that. I had to switch that position there, but I didn't want to reverse it because I didn't like where my entry point was based off of what I'm seeing here. So okay, so let's go back to that, right? So boom, in this one candle here, it's showing me that there was a total of 119 trades or contracts put in at this time. So now what this chart also shows me is how many sell orders or how many sell contracts were executed, and then how many buy or how many like up contracts were executed. So they show them on each side because in each candle that's what's going on, right? It's a fight between the people buying and selling to see who will gain control. Now in this candle, this chart is showing me that there was 119 contracts traded. So out of all the people who got in and out of a trade in this candle, it was 119. And what this next column or row is showing me is the delta. All right, so the delta would just be the difference between the buy orders and sell orders, right? So why does that matter? That matters because that shows me who is in control at this point in time. So seeing this candle right here shows me high volume, right? So it shows me that there is 119 contracts being traded. Now, 119 contracts being traded in this candle right here compared to the candles before it. So 23 was the one right before it. 45 was the one before that. 8, 16, 12, right? So that is an unusual number compared to what it is that I was seeing in the chart previously. Now, boom. What am I using this as far as my strategy? So 119 contracts, right, in this candle. The delta, right, or the difference between the buy contracts and sell contracts was negative 49. So that means the sellers were in control of this candle by negative 49. Now the next row literally shows me what's called POC. So POC is point of control. So point of control just means where there was the strongest volume in that candle and at what exact price point. So now understanding that the point of control is 70.190, right? So if I go to 70.190, we're right about here. So the point of control for this candle was right about here, right? Now if this volume is true and the sellers were indeed in control, that means that before price goes up, these contracts that were in this area needed to be fulfilled to be able to see. Now, what do we have, right, in this candle right before the one that's coming now, which is actually the candle that I got in and the reason why I got in? So what do we see? So it was 19 sell contracts on this side here, which was previously the point of control, and then 10 buy contracts. Now, every candle after that had contracts that converted within that area, but it wasn't strong enough to overturn what was here previous, right? Which is why price was struggling to go up. So me seeing what I saw in this candle and seeing these orders come in real time and seeing the volume again, look, 137, that volume is higher than the previous candle that was here. Now, me seeing this, it's showing me that the previous sell orders that were here were fulfilled, and then frees up room, or not even frees up room, I should say, basically, because these orders were filled, it gives price like fuel, right, or motive to move to a new price point. Now it did that, and boom, you see these red boxes here, right? So these red boxes show the same thing, where sellers were in control. Now, what do we also see here? The sellers were in control, and we had buyers that stepped in, but it wasn't strong enough to fill the orders for this area, which is why price came down. But here's another thing, right? So in these candles here, right here, and then in this purple one specifically. So it's purple for me, but it would be green for other people, right? So in these two candles specifically, what is it showing me? So now understand this. This volume, or the amount of contracts, or the amount of people that exchange contracts in this specific candle, right? Which this candle shows a specific time frame of price action between these price points. Okay, so what this candle is showing me, that the volume was only 45 and the sellers were only in control by 25 contracts, right? Now, what do you see here? You see a drastic move to the downside. This is what the volume is supposed to show on the chart, right? If you see volume that is high with a high negative or positive delta, you want what you're seeing in the volume to match what's on the charts, and vice versa. So what do we see here, right? We have a red candle, but we also see that this candle has a long wick, right? So what this wick means is that price came down to these points, but it did not sustain these price points because of the buying pressure that is stepping in, right? So now, like I said before, in this candle, we see a good amount of volume, 45. There's not a lot of contracts that trades in silver. Silver is really lower on terms of the volume side. Basically, just to say that there's not a lot of people that trade silver compared to, let's go to MNQ, right? So MNQ is an index, way bigger contracts, way bigger sizes. And now, look, you guys can see in this candle alone, there was 6,070 contracts, and the negative delta was 1,932, right? But that's a different instrument. I'm not trading that instrument. So, boom. That was just to give you guys perspective into another market, right? And okay, so if we get a close above here, that's a close above these imbalances, right? So if we get a close above here, that means the orders that were here causing price to stay down are no longer there. So as soon as we see price close above this area, it is okay to anticipate that buying pressure is going to then step in. And I think we got those orders filled here. So what was that, about 18? And now, see, look, we had this step in, right? But it wasn't enough to continue to have price go up. And now we have another candle forming within the same area. And now, so boom. So the volume is also matching these candles here besides this one. And I'm gonna explain this one as well. But let's go back, right? So boom. What we see here, so this is a red candle, but we see the wick. Now what this means is that price came down to this point but got pushed up because of the buying pressure. Now boom, we had a volume of 119 and the sellers in control by negative 49, but we don't see price continue to go down, right? If this volume is so much greater than this one and the negative delta is so much greater than this one, how come we don't see price going down farther, or at least the same amount like this one did? And the reason why is because the sellers were in control, yes, but there are two types of sellers, right? So there are sellers that sell immediately in the market. So if I was to go onto the trade that I'm in now and press sell, that's me converting a sell contract right in the market, and those show up here. But there are also sellers that place sell orders higher on the chart. So I can place a sell order right here to say that when/if price goes up to this price point, sell whatever contracts I have so that I can get profit. So that's another type of sell order, right? So those type of sell orders, when those type of sell orders occur when it is someone who wants to see price get up to a specific price point before they sell. Now, that's what we're seeing here. We're not seeing people sell at the market. What we're seeing is what's called passive sellers. We're seeing sellers step into the market, but they are wanting to sell at a higher price point than where price is, right? So me understanding that this volume and the negative delta was so high, but price isn't continuing to go down, that lets me know that there are passive sellers in the market. There are people who actually want to see this go up before they sell. So those people stepped into the market at this time. And that's why you see this long wick, right? That's why you see price get pushed back up, because all of those people who were waiting for price to get to this area, like myself, that actually want to see it keep going up, that's when they put their orders in. So boom, me understanding that, I then see this candle. So this is a purple candle, or what for others would be green, and sort of the same situation, but we see price actually go up, right? Now it's going up, but we have a negative delta. So price is going up, and the negative delta means that sellers are still in control in terms of that candle. But what do we see? Price come down and get pushed back up. So this shows me that there are passive sellers active in the market. Where exactly that is, I don't know. Who knows, right? But what we can anticipate is for price to get to the next area or zone where sellers stepped in. And boom. So right now, what are we seeing? We are seeing my trade slowly get invalidated. So As soon as we see the selling pressure get below these lows here, right? So if we see the selling pressure get below these lows and we get a good amount of aggressive sellers. So aggressive sellers are people that are selling actively at the market. So if we get the correct amount of aggressive sellers in these areas, price will continue to go down just like you see it is now. So although I had, my trading plan with these candles in the volume, it turns out the aggressive sellers are just stronger. And I can risk about 300-400 on this trade here. I don't want to put a stop loss down because I'm not gonna say I don't believe in stop losses, but basically, like, what price does is basically look for the next area it can go and fulfill orders before making the moves it needs to the downside. Okay, so it looks like we got these sellers stepping in. Selling pressure is really high right now. We're gonna close this.
Order filled.
Because we're seeing a lot of selling volume here, right? We're seeing a lot of selling volume. Now, no, I did not mean to do that on that chart. Let's go back to the 1 minute. And now, boom, on this chart here, price is bullish, and we still have yet to cross below these lows, these previous lows here. So as soon as we get the candle closure below these lows, that lets me know that the orders that needed to be fulfilled within those areas were fulfilled, and is what is driving price to the downside. But we have not reached that point yet, which is why I'm still buying the market instead of selling the market, because I still believe and anticipate price to go up because of, one, the volume, but then two, overall market structure, right? Because in an uptrend, we want to see higher highs and higher lows. So if we get a lower low for some reason, that is an indication that price could be reversing, right? But it could also be just price coming below these lows to fulfill these orders before going back up. And that is why I use the volume chart, so that I could just get a closer picture, right? And just understand a little better about what is actually happening in these candles. So we're gonna watch this price action here and see how things play out in terms of volume, because we had some sellers come down and sweep these low points here, but we do know that there are passive sellers still in the market. All right, we're seeing some buying volume step in here. Now, before I get into the market again, I'm just going to wait for a little more confirmation that price wants to continue to the upside. And by that, confirmation. I want to see price come up above these previous highs. These previous highs to show me that there's enough buying pressure to fulfill the orders needed within this area. So what price point is that? We'll call it 70.300. So 70.300. I'm gonna set an alert, and we're gonna get up off this chart here, because me watching the chart isn't gonna make it do what I want it to do. So in the meantime, I'll set these alerts. I'll also set one for below this point, because no, let's just set one for below these lows here, right? Because if we do get below these lows, that is what we want to see in terms of moves to the downside. So if price can close below these lows, then we know that the orders that needed to be fulfilled within this range have been fulfilled to even allow price to come down, and vice versa to the upside, right? So where are we at here? And here we are. Yep. So look, we're seeing sellers getting exhausted here. All of these sellers are coming into the market with no one to fulfill their orders. Now, unless we have price come down and we get some aggressive aggressive buyers at these areas to fulfill these orders, I don't see price going below these lows, right? But I won't know for sure until I get the confirmation from the chart, from the volume, from the price action. So just need to continue to stay patient here, and wait for price to get to my desired area before I can take action. And we got that alert there, so let me go to the 1 minute here. Yeah, we want to see price come above these highs. Let's put this up to about 73.15, because that's like right above those candles. You know what? Let's go above the imbalance, right? Because we see that we have seller imbalance in these areas, and it looks like they were fulfilled, but I would still rather see price come through these areas, showing the appropriate, not necessary, showing the appropriate volume and price action to match. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. I'm gonna go MNQ. Alright, so we're seeing price range in this area. I would typically want to see it cross the 38.94s. Where are we at on the actual chart? Yeah, let's set an alert here, and then let's look at the overall trend on NASDAQ, right? What should we be looking at? All right, so what do we see, right? We see price is in an uptrend. We got a low here, and we got a let's actually, well, this isn't as cute as we would hope it to be or how we would draw it up, but it still is one, right? We got this low point here, then a high point, a low point that's higher than the previous, high point that's higher than the previous. We got an equal low, so as long as it isn't lower, we can still call it a bullish trend, right? Then we have it come up, create a low, which was fairly equal, and then we had price come down and do what's called the liquidity sweep, right? Swept the orders that were below all of these lows before doing what? Shooting all the way up. So now that I see we are in a bullish trend, we see price create this higher low here, and this is the correction for all my ICCers, right? Indication, correction, and anticipating continuation, but we need to see the matching volume and price action. Okay, so we got some good volume here in this last candle, but we also see price get pushed down and some sellers step into the market here too. But overall, buyers were in control of that candle by about 1,000 contracts. So in order for price to fully push past this candle and this one here, maybe even these lows, we need to see these orders get fulfilled. And we're seeing price struggle here with continuing to go back down. Okay, we got some buyers stepping in. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Right now, we're looking to get into a position here. We just need price to reach the area that I'm looking for it to reach and the necessary volume to match it so that we could get in for a buy here. Welcome. If you haven't follow. If you guys have any questions, if you need any helps with any terms that I'm using as I'm trying to explain my strategy here, let me know. And let me know what your overall level is in trading. Maybe you're a beginner and you have no idea what it is I'm looking at or what it is I'm talking about. Let me know. I wanna try to help you, and explaining it to you also helps me because it runs it back in my mind over and over again and lets me know continuously and gives me that repetition in my mind to help me practice. So as of right now, that's what we're doing. We're really just waiting for price to show interest in these areas, which, what do we see now, right? We're seeing some sellers step in the market really aggressively here, unless we see some sellers passively joining the market, wanting price to go up. But what do we see, right? We see price come back to this area that I was looking for, and then sellers step in again. So now, typically what I would be looking for is for, there's a lot of buying imbalance located here on the chart. So a lot of areas where buy orders are waiting to be fulfilled. And if they cannot be fulfilled, then price will not continue to go down. So as far as the downtrend goes, I don't think I'm gonna be taking any shorts or any sells. But if price is selling at the moment, I would want to see it get to about this area here, and then see how the volume is reacting in this area, because I believe this is a support area for price to fulfill some orders and for buyers to step back in the market to continue to push price up. Okay, we got some strong selling pressure here. About 30 seconds until this candle closes, and the volume is already greater, as well as the delta is already greater than the previous candle. So yes, we should be seeing price action reflect what we're seeing in the volume, right? So we should be seeing price come down because the volume is high, greater than the last previous candles up until this point. But we see the volume high, and then we also see that the delta, right? The delta, or the difference between buyers and sellers, is also very high. Oh, now we got buyers stepping in right around this area. So yeah, what we would like to see is the orders in this area here be fulfilled so that we can anticipate the move to the upside. But until then, there are still sellers present that want to see price go down if they are aggressive sellers. Now, if they are passive sellers, so what I was explaining before is an aggressive seller is basically right now, if I was to go onto my my DOM, depth of market, basically where I execute my trades, if I was to go here and press sell, that would make me an aggressive seller, right? But the other types of sellers are the people who set orders higher than where price is so that they can sell at a higher price. And if we see that there is a lot of selling pressure but price is refusing to go down, that means that there are sellers that are in control, but they are passive sellers who really want to see price go up. And that is why I look at the volume. That is why I look at the orders and what's actually taking place in each candle when it gets to my specific areas. So I'm not saying I'm not, because I actually currently am just watching the candles form, but that's really just for you guys to, see what's going on in real time. But in terms of my strategy, I would wait for price to get to a specific demand or support zone, and when I get the alert that price does get into said zones, this is when I use the volume chart to get a closer look at the actual orders and volume that is in the market. That will give me the extra confirmation I need to even get into a trade. And until then, I do nothing. We lost a few trades over in silver. Let's see how silver is doing. I haven't gotten any alerts, but it's not bad to see what's going on, right? I still got that MNQ chart up on the right. We want to see price get into these areas here and at least close above, so that we can get the confirmation that there is buying pressure that wants to see price get above this previous resistance. And then silver, what do we see here in silver? Okay, so look, we got the close below this low, right? Now we need to see the matching volume. Okay. Can you guys see everything well? Let me know. You can trade on, for example. I've been trading on gold. Can I still do that through Top Step? Also, if it does limit you, how do you decide on silver? Okay, great question. So, Top Step. Top Step is I don't want to say primarily, because then that makes it seem like they do other things, but literally Top Step is a company that revolves around trading futures. So you can trade gold, which what I was showing you before is similar to gold spot in Forex, right? So gold spot in Forex is similar to gold in futures, but what's different is, like we explained before, the tick sizes, right? And the amount of gain or loss in each contract. So as far as why I decided to trade silver is the same, right? It's because of the tick sizes and the amount of gain or loss between each price movement. And then, so what I'll actually do is show you this, right? So an interesting thing is that gold and silver kind of sort of mirror each other in terms of movement. Let me get a better look at that. Hold on. We're gonna do it on this side. Boom. So we're gonna take gold and silver, and if I go to, we'll go to 15-minute, and then we'll go to 15-minute. So boom. Gold and silver are fairly similar in terms of the price action. Now, that's just because the gold and silver reserve of the United States moves based off of the same parameters. So gold itself, gold in any market, gold futures, gold spot, gold, the CFD, and crypto, gold and silver, the reserves of the US, they moved based off of inflation rates, federal hearings. Hold on, let's chat GPT that, right? Boom. Wait, let me make sure I answered your question all the way. And also, okay, so yeah, how did I decide on silver? I'm explaining that at the moment. And then, so as far as Top Step though, you would only be able to trade futures. And trading futures and trading Forex, I'm not going to say it's the same thing, because it's not. But in terms of market structure and chart analysis, you can use the same strategy for futures, just on a different instrument. The only thing that would change within your strategy from switching from Forex to futures is you calculating your tick sizes and the differences in each movement to the upside or the downside. So like that's the difference between all the different markets, right? Although there's still different derivatives of the same market in each category. Like I can trade gold in Forex, crypto, and futures, but they all just have a different name, and they're all a different derivative, um, and they're all just a different derivative because of it being from a different exchange. So there's certain companies that run the exchanges that provide the charts for each category. Let me know if that made sense at all. I try my best to explain it, but if we need to, we can chat GBT it and figure it out together. All right, so what am I seeing here? Not what I need to yet. And that's why I have these alerts. So we're going to let price do its thing. I'm not even going to worry about that. And let's look back here at NASDAQ. Okay. Okay. So yeah, now on the 1 minute, we want to see price get to this area. And for me to see what type of volume is occurring in that area. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, ask more questions. Don't limit your questions because you think it might be too much to explain, or that you just don't understand it and you're just gonna settle for not understanding. Like, I wanna try my best, and if not, then shit, we both get a better understanding of it together. Uh-oh. We got some good volume stepping in here. This might be the bounce, right? This might be the bounce. If we can get price to come up to these areas here. Well, if price chooses to do it, shit, I can't get it to do anything. Okay. Let's see here. Do we got anything in crude oil. Let's pull up the crude oil chart and see what's going on. We're consolidating. That chart looks disgusting. Ew. Yeah, nothing going on here. Let's get out of there before I throw up. What do we see here? Nope, nothing in terms of my strategy here. It's all good. Let's look at Russell. Overall, we are bullish, so our bias should be bullish. Now we're gonna take a deeper look in here. Okay. I don't really like how that looks either. We're gonna stay away from that. All right. So yeah, as far as any other instruments, I'm not really seeing too much that I'm interested in. What time is it? It is 1:50. Yeah, so we're coming up on the very end of the New York session. New York session ends 4 to 4:30. 4 for Forex and crypto, I believe. 4 o'clock for. I think it's for everyone actually. That's just the overall session. But yeah, we're not getting any good price action. And the trades that I did take, I was wrong. we got price coming down to these lows here. I got an alert set at the very bottom of these lows, and then on the 1 minute time frame, I have an alert set for a supply area, a supply zone that I would like to see price close above to confirm to me that the sellers that were in this area are no longer there. So yeah, price is just consolidating right now. It's doing this thing. Jada, if that's still you, have you taken any trades lately? Like, have you taken any trades on any instruments and, um, learned anything, seen any success, took some losses? Yeah, we're slowly inching down here, but still nothing that's enticing me to get in here. Okay. Let's take a moment. Let's take a moment to back test. I got a couple minutes here, and until I get any notifications from either of the charts I'm watching, I'm not gonna be taking any more trades. So for the one time, let's just break down this strategy one more time. Let's run this all the way back. Where are we at? June. Let's go to 15 minute. We'll go to March. Wait. May, June. That's May. Alright, we'll go to May. And here we are, right? So, 4-hour time frame. What trend do we see? We see an uptrend. So, we see price is bullish. Now, our bias should be bullish. When we look for a position, it should be on with the trend, and the trend is up, right? The trend is bullish. So those are the type of positions we should be looking for. So we can go ahead, let this replay go out here and see what price wants to do. Okay. Let's pause this. What do we see? So we see price shoot drastically down and sweep these lows at the bottom. Now, that is our liquidity sweep, right? Boom. It took out these orders below and then did what? Shot up and created a new high and broke the previous high, right? So it broke out of this range that we were in. So we can go ahead and mark the breakout within this structure. So boom. Let's mark that breakout there. Okay. Now that we have the liquidity sweep and we have our breakout structure, next what we do is draw out the zone of the previous high and the lowest point before price broke that previous high. So from here to there, boom. And now this would be our breakout zone or range. So within this range. Now, what do we see? Price already starting to have a bit of a pullback here. Let's let price play on. This setup may be a little invalidated here, but we will see. Yeah, that was not a good setup, right? Because what do we see? Price just consolidating here. Fill me in. We're just back testing right now. Currently looking at crude oil and silver for positions, but it hasn't tagged off any of my alerts. So we're just being patient and just waiting for price to give us an opportunity here. We're within these ranges here in silver that I'm looking at. Looking for price to come above this supply zone where we see sellers stepping in. We would like to see a candle closure above, being as though the overall trend in silver is bullish. I mean, wait. Yeah, well, it looks like it's reversing. I'm not gonna lie. We're getting some oh, I moved that alert by accident. We'll put it back. But we're getting some consolidation here. And then we had price come down and make an equal low before shooting up and breaking structure, which gives me my setup here. And what I just did was zoom in to this here. Let's actually do it. So boom. Now so yeah, we zoomed in here, right? And we see price creating these higher highs, higher lows. Then we have price come down, sweep liquidity here, and then break structure. So let's mark it out in real time. I'm back. Great lift. I'm glad to hear that, brother. I am glad to hear that. Okay. Boom. Boom. And now, because we're approaching that area that I was looking for previous, Now, what do we see? Volume stepping in. And we have selling pressure stepping in, but price is going up. So what is that showing us? That's showing us that there are passive sellers. There are people in the market. Remind me of all the information that we take away coming out from the candles. So yeah, so like perfect example right here, right? Perfect example. Oh, we're gonna move this down here because we got some good price action. If we get price to close above this area here, that means that we should have some good buying volume. Yes. Okay. All right. So yeah, let's bring it back, right? So with the wicks. Boom. So look, as you can see in this candle here, what do we see, right? We see price wanted. So basically with the wicks, it shows where price was before getting pushed back either up or down due to the buying or selling pressure that steps in. Now, with this specific candle here, I'm about to get in for another buy here, and if we get stopped out of this one, we're gonna call it a day. And okay, so before I do that, here's why. Now, this candle here, the overall volume of this specific candle, the one with the wick. Now, the overall volume is 143. So that means that there was 143 trades, or basically orders put in within this contract. Now, the next row is the delta, right? Or the difference between the buying contracts and the selling contracts. So what the delta does is show you who's in control. Now, with this specific candle here, it is showing us the volume. The volume is showing us that the sellers are to be in control. But what do we see? We see a purple candle, or what would be a green candle. So if the sellers are in control, but this is a purple candle, that doesn't match up, right? If we're seeing sellers in control and we're seeing a high volume of sellers in control, we want to see price match that and go down, because the volume is showing us volume that would align with a downtrending market. But we see a candle that is going up. Now, what that means is there are sellers in control of this candle, but these sellers were not aggressive sellers. Aggressive sellers are sellers who are literally watching the market like I am and are in a position, and they are pressing the sell button to get out of whatever trade that they are in. Now, these are not aggressive sellers, because if these were aggressive sellers, price would continue going down. But because these are passive sellers, that is why we see this long wick that is formed due to the buying pressure from the passive sellers. So here's what I mean by that, right? A passive seller is someone who wants to sell the position that they get into. And a passive seller is, unlike someone who would be aggressively selling in the market, actually pressing the sell button, a passive seller is someone who creates an order to sell at a higher price. So a passive seller actually wants to see price go up so that they can sell at a different price. Now, that is what this candle is indicating. It's indicating that, okay, the sellers are in control of this candle, but price did not go down. So that means there must be passive selling. Passive selling that is attracting price to the upside. That is attracting price to the upside. Now, what we would need to see is the corresponding volume to the upside for us to get that confirmation. And that is not what we're getting right now. This candle here was a skinny white candle with a small body, and there were only 4 contracts traded in that time frame. The buyers were in control by 2 contracts. That's okay, I guess. It's showing us that buyers are in control, but not by much. The buying pressure is weak. So us knowing or seeing that the buying pressure is weak, as of right now, that's not enough confirmation for us to get into a trade right now. Although we've seen this candle and understand what it means or what it could mean, we don't know for sure until we get more confirmation. And the confirmation I'm looking for would translate the same from passive. Would translate the same from passive. From passive and aggressive buyers in terms for wicks. Yes, 100%. And then, so boom. Great example is the candle right after it, right? So this was a. So look, we're seeing a negative delta again. So we're seeing a negative delta again, but this is in a candle going up, and you know that also still does represent passive sellers. But what you can see at the top of this candle is that the buying pressure kind of got dead as we got towards the top of this candle, towards this price point. So you can see that there were only 2 buy contracts at this price point, and we had 7 sell contracts at this price point, which is why price didn't sustain price up here, because of the selling pressure current in the candle. So that's why you see this wick, because there wasn't enough buy orders for price to sustain itself up here in this area. Although price did get to this area and people were able to buy at this area, price wasn't able to sustain it, which is why we see the wick. And the same in the inverse with the downside. Okay, how's this buying pressures looking, right? Not too good. We're seeing overall volume of 14. We got another negative delta buying candle. Now, what do we see? Another candle. So the volume of this candle was 6, and the buyers were in control of the whole candle. This next candle, the overall volume is 11, and buyers were in control by 9. Now, these numbers are fairly low, but this is still sort of kind of okay volume for silver, because just not a lot of people trade silver, and it's really just because of the margin and the tick value depending on the move to the upside or downside. And because it's not high in volume, because given the line of information, could you or alter your intent? Oh, so for your approach, watching the market is a good or bad thing? Because given the information, could have you go against or alter your intent? Rephrase what you meant by that last part. But in terms of my approach, I watch the market by setting alerts. We're watching the market now because was just trying to explain the wick concept and the volume. Like, have you make adjustments? So if I'm steady watching it and you know, I see something because of the information you're receiving. So yeah, so if I'm currently in a trade, I in terms of this strategy, like in terms of this approach, because I'm on the 1 minute time frame and I'm using the volume to basically determine when I believe I should be in or out. Um, I will go ahead and watch the trade just because I don't plan to be in the trades too long. So like compared to my strategy before, I would hold trades for, you know, a couple hours throughout the day or a couple minutes. Okay, look, we got price going up to the area. We want to see price close above these candles, above this area here, above this candle. But then we also want to see the matching volume with it. But I am missing something. I'm missing the news, the world news. 2 hours and 5 minutes ago, the deal is signed. Oh shit. Hold on. I gotta watch this volume because we're in this area, right? So if we get the necessary volume and the candle closure above this area, that will confirm to me that buyers want to step into the market here, and we can anticipate price to continue going up. But until then, I won't have that confirmation. 13 seconds, 11 seconds, we're above this area. And we got good volume. I'm gonna take this alert down. We got 2 seconds till the candle closes. Silver. All right. "30 seconds here till this candle closes. We just want to see buying pressure be sustained. But if we get, you know, some selling pressure step in and close below these candles, then I'm going to just hold off until we get better confirmation from the price action compared to what I'm seeing in the volume. Saying right now that the buyers are in control by 4 or 5 contracts, but price is going down. So same thing. If I see that the buyers are supposedly in control, but we have price going down, that means that there's a buyer somewhere down here that wants to see price come down before pressing buy, because they want to buy at a cheaper price. So they're putting an order down here to attract price to it so that they can then buy. Okay, we're kind of consolidating around this area that I had marked before. So I'm definitely watching the chart now because I need to see what's going on in terms of the volume and just price action overall within this area to let me know whether or not I'll be getting in for a buy here. Okay, so more passive selling indication, right? Because we have this candle here. because we have this candle here with a long wick to the downside showing the buying pressure stepping in, and what, a negative delta again. Okay, we have some buying stepping in here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna step in right about here.
Order filled.
And in terms of a stop loss, let's see what the 950s look like. 950s, I think that's actually a really great area. I got about 500 to risk here. Oh, that's actually exactly it. So let's actually come right below this low here on the 1 minute time frame. We could go about 7.080 right below this low here. And then 7.080 is right about here. Yep, right about here. And we got some good buying pressure here. Okay, we want to see buying pressure be sustained through these imbalanced areas. We're getting some good buying volume step in here, but we want to see it past this imbalance, right? Because this is an imbalance where sellers are present waiting to push price down. But if we can get price to, or if price chooses to push past this imbalance, then we will be a-okay in terms of market structure, right? Because on the higher time frame, what do we see? We see that price has reached an area of demand, right? An area where buyers previously stepped into the market and pushed price up. Now, push price up to a new high, and then we came down, and we actually came lower than the previous low, maybe about equal, and filled the orders that were present. And now we can anticipate price to go up until the next zone where sellers stepped in. So maybe about 70.845. So 70.845. Yeah. But we got a little ways until we get up there, and we need volume. We need volume to match it. All right, we might have some sellers stepping in here. If we get some selling pressure, I may or may not cut the trade early just to secure some profits here, but it depends, right? Depends on the volume and how we react to this imbalance zone right here. Can we get the orders fulfilled is the question. We got good volume stepping in. Overall volume is 20, sellers 21, 22. buyers are in control by about 18 contracts here. We had the imbalance fulfilled. Now we just need to continue seeing the correct volume and price action for price to continue going higher here. I think we have finally caught the move that I was trying to before I got stopped out 2 times. But this also very well could be a liquidity sweep for a bigger move to the downside, which is why I only put my stop loss right about here. And there's another reason why if I lose my third trade within my strategy, I gotta sit out. And we go on to the next day. I would at least like to see a break-even trade here, but we don't always get what we want, right? Nice. So this imbalance actually turned into a buying imbalance. So basically, this is now an area where price can gravitate to either gain fuel. Well, not to either gain fuel, because it will regardless. But either the buy orders will not be filled and price will continue going up, or the buy orders will get filled and price may consolidate or just immediately go back down. Okay, we got more buyers stepping in this area. So previously the imbalance was 8 buyers, and now we have 14 more buyers stepping in at that same level with no sellers present. So the anticipation to the upside is high unless, yes, there we go, unless we get that wick, right? Showing us that there is selling pressure present. So we want to see volume continue to rise and show us that it wants to get past this area here. But if it fails to do so, then it is what it is. And before we reach the low of this last this doji candle here, so what, 70.25, okay, here we go. There's that volume we needed, right? Yes. Okay, we got sellers stepping into the market now. See, exactly what we anticipated. Because this is an area where sellers previously stepped into the market, right around here. Now what we want to see is the buyers win the battle. The buyers win the battle, then we get the price action we were anticipating. This candle here, although we had some sellers step in, we got a positive 4 delta. So the buyers were in control by about 4 contracts here. And we still have this strong area of buyers at around 73.15s. All good. Price has to do their pullback, right? It needs to come down and fill some of these orders for the liquidity. It needs to. Now what we don't want to see is price come below these lows here. What is this? Yeah, so 160, 155-ish. Yeah, that's exactly right about where I was. So right around here, right? If we get a candle closure right about here, then if we don't get the immediate buying volume after that candle closure, then that would be a signal for a reversal, because we've reached a previous low. And in terms of market structure, a bullish market structure at that, there needs to be higher lows created. So if we create a lower low, we need to zoom in, watch the price action and volume to see whether or not it is a liquidity sweep or it's actual sellers stepping into the market. So yeah, about the 70.150s, 70.160s. When/if we get into those areas, I need to see the price action. Okay, we got sellers stepping in here. Still not at those 150s, 160s yet. Just watching this price action. We're getting a lot of negative volume here. So what we are anticipating may very well happen. And watch when I wake up tomorrow. This thing is going to be where I'm anticipating it to be. Okay, we got some orders filled here at these 160s. What do we see here? We got 165s. Okay, so we had some buying pressure step in, right? We had price come down to this previous low, but then we have this long wick, right? We had price get pushed back up because of the buying pressure that is in that area. So that's my last line of defense. If they get taken out, then it is what it is, and we'll take another loss for the day, and we'll call it a day. Back to the drawing board tomorrow. That was a scary wick. That was scary. We may very well get stopped out here. Oh, man. Not a good day. Well, it's a good day. It's just not a good day in terms of actual wins and loss. But it's a good losing day. Man, the news right now. Looks like Trump signed those deals with Iran. It says the deals all signed via Trump. What else do we see? It says oil reserve hits 43-year low as Trump aims to tame gas price. Man, if we can see gas prices go not just back to where they were, but below where they were, that would be great. That would be a great sign. Well, a great sign that the war is over and that, all that bullshit with Trump is done going on. Okay, so like we speak about before, if we can get the necessary volume, this may have just been the liquidity sweep that we needed, right? We may have just needed to come down and swipe the rest of these orders before getting that push to the upside. But in terms of volume, doesn't look that way. It looks like I'm getting stopped out and we'll have another red day. And then let me see. Let me use the bathroom real quick, brother. Watch that for me. Okay, we see some buying volume coming in here, but not the way we like. We can start to see things getting a little choppy here on the 1 minute. $5 minute is looking good in terms of structure. We got this we got this low that came down, swept the liquidity here, and we're looking for that volume to the upside. I want to see if there's a way for me to stop both charts from moving at the same time. Let me see. Crosshair. Okay. So yeah, I'm actually we're gonna hold this. We're gonna hold this until market close at about 4:10 ish. Um, we're right about in the area that I was aiming to be in, and as of right now, there just needs to be some volume that steps in, like here previously, and yeah, about 247 ish, about to be 248. Couple seconds here. Yeah, man, we got that selling pressure kicking in today, boy. Okay, so important news for silver. So Kevin Warsh will preside over his first interest rate setting meeting as Federal Reserve Chair on Wednesday, when the central bank is expected to hold rates steady. All eyes will be on Warsh as Fed watchers try to discern his views, his personal credibility, and how he will position the Fed in the current landscape. The committee is facing hotter inflation readings as conflict in Iran has pushed inflation higher. While Warsh is generally perceived as dovish, he will inherit a committee that has become noticeably more hawkish, said Greg Dacko, chief economist at EY. Shit, I don't even know how to say that. So okay, so yeah, so FOMC and the federal interest rates will be highly effective to the silver and gold markets. So once we get this person, whoever that person is, to speak for the Federal Reserve. So silver is a part of the Federal Reserve, right? I'm trading the silver reserve. Gold is a gold reserve of the U.S. So the value of those things depends on this news, right? Depends on interest rates, depends on inflation, and what the expectations are of those things. So when this person speaks and they say whatever it is they have to say, it says on Wednesday they'll be speaking. I'm not entirely sure what time. Let's see on the calendar. So Wednesday, so 2 p.m. Federal funds rate, FOMC economic projections, and the FOMC statement. So basically, from 2 to 2:30, all of the important information for the silver and gold reserves will be coming out in terms of interest rates and inflation rates. Now, how the market will move is depending on what's expected of those rates compared to what actually happens when that person is finished speaking. So that's what's going to determine how the market moves. Depending on the reaction of what is actually being said at the news meeting compared to what's expected to be said at the news meeting. My fault. I'm locked in, y'all. I'm looking at this volume, seeing what's going on here. We're getting some movement to the upside, but I'm really just concerned with how price reacts to this area here, because as you can see within this zone, this was the previous zone where sellers stepped into the market. So as we approach that zone, I have an alert set for that specific zone. As we approach that zone, I just want to make sure that I'm watching the volume to see how we look as we approach and how we'll look once we get there. And as we approach, it seems as though we have some pretty good volume making our way up here. We just want to make sure we see that volume continue or grow as we get to my point of interest, or my area of interest. So yeah, look, you guys can literally see, right? There's 10 buy contracts here. There's 10 sell contracts, but then there's the other 3 buy contracts here that is helping keep price at this point before going down. So once we see that these 3 buy orders on the right are fulfilled, then price would have the option to continue to the downside. But because we're not seeing those orders fulfilled, even though the next candle started here, where did it come back to? It came back to this area because we're looking for these orders to be filled. If these orders can get filled, then that will start the downside movement if the volume kicks in and allows it to do so. But until we see these orders get fulfilled, we can anticipate price to continue going higher because of the previous volume and the volume occurring. And yeah, we got some more buyers stepping in. We still didn't get these orders filled here at this level. But we do have some sell orders set at these levels. Now, these are either passive or these are either passive sellers or aggressive sellers waiting for price to come down to sell here. But what we really want to see is price get to this point of interest, right? And see what happens when we get to this point of interest. I got about until 3:15 with you guys. I could probably spare a couple more minutes after 15, maybe up to 18, maybe up to 20, depending on whether or not I'm still in this trade. But where the volume kicks in will tell me that, right? If we get volume to kick in within a short time frame, then we may very well be out of this trade by then. This is where we're at currently, and we want to see price come up here to this previous supply zone where we see sellers stepped in, and we would like to see, the buyers win control of this zone. And at this zone, previously in the volume chart, what do we see, right? We see in this zone, we had buyers step in here with about 8 contracts. We had buyers in this candle here with about 14, and then another 7, another 1, and then to match this whole area, we only got 6 sell contracts. So considering price does get to that area, we can anticipate the buyers in that area to step in to help push price up. Can y'all see the volume chart? You guys can see the orders coming in, and basically just understand my overall strategy when it comes to trading this way. Bet. Okay, we got price approaching this area here. Selling pressure is real.
Order filled.
We just went ahead and basically rode with this volume here to the downside. We're getting a strong kick here. Yo, some kid is screaming outside. Very choppy. Very choppy. Let's see how crude oil is doing. Okay, we seem to broke above this zone here. Now, what are we seeing in this zone? Are we seeing necessary buying pressure? not seeing nothing here in crude oil. Go back to silver. See how this trade is doing. I did reverse the trade, and we are riding this bearish trend, man. We got a lot of bearish volume in the market, and at the top here, where I got in around what was a support zone, we had sellers take control at about what price point? 70.175. Where is that at here? Oh, that's the wrong chart. So about where? 175. So yeah, about this area here. So where are we at? Yep. So after this candle here formed this really short, small one, we had price actually open up down here, as you can see, and that's just because of there not being enough volume for it to be a candle right next to where it was. So because there's not enough volume and enough people trading at every second, that's why you see the candles are kind of getting choppy and spaced out between each other. But in terms of silver, that's fairly normal. So we're seeing silver approach this area down here where the selling imbalances are, and we want to see how price reacts to these imbalances.
Order filled.
Here we go. Look, here goes that buying, right? Got about 7 seconds until this candle closes. If this candle closes, then I believe the liquidity sweep will be finished. As you see, we didn't break below this previous low here. So we had price come all the way down here. I did get in for this downside movement, but we had price shoot all the way back up within the last couple seconds. And I got out at about break even before it turned into a loss of any type. If I did take a loss there, that would have been it for the day. But because 3 losing trades, I'm calling it. But we still haven't made it there yet. We had price come down to this. This was yesterday's low. Yesterday's low in New York, and as soon as we hit yesterday's low in New York session, we see this spike in buying power. Now, whether or not it is sufficient enough to bring us up top, not entirely sure yet. Yeah, we're not even gonna bother. Too choppy. And I just mean in terms of consolidation, right? We're having a hard time breaking above this high and below this low. So really price is just going to continue ranging until the necessary volume to either the upside or the downside comes in. And although we were anticipating it, it didn't happen, which is why I have the losses that I have. So I don't think my bias was incorrect. I just think that the volume at the specific time of my entries and during wasn't enough to sustain. But on the higher time frame, we are bullish and we see signs of the market wanting to be bullish. It's just we are still within this range and there's no breakout to basically invite the volume that we are anticipating. But we have some good buying volume from this low down here. Shit. We're gonna call it a day. Remove these alerts. So overall, not a bad day. It is a red day, but red doesn't necessarily mean bad. You gotta take the green and the red. Green and the red. But it's all good. We're gonna come tomorrow. Focus. Determined. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Yep, we got that news coming out on Wednesday. And we're gonna see. We're gonna see how things react as far as that gentleman speaking and how the new proposed interest and inflation rates affect both silver and gold. I will be looking at both as far as the price action and seeing if we got any setups there throughout tomorrow and Wednesday for sure. But for my viewers, let's look at today's stats. Okay. Eight losing, 3 winning. Total P&L, negative 636. 11 trades in total. Not too bad. That's like right within my range. And what else? All the rest of that stuff doesn't really matter to me. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Not a bad start to the week. Well, for some people maybe. But I still feel great. I'm excited for the rest of this week. We had the SpaceX IPO last week. Actually, let's take a look at that. I'm actually about to add that to my watch list. How did that do today? Oh, look like we had some selling off here in SpaceX. Oh, never mind. Shit. It's selling off now, but what? At 10:30, SpaceX went up. SpaceX went up to about what? 188. And today it started roughly around, what's today? So 12 a.m. today, we started at 168. And we had almost a 20-point move in SpaceX. Excuse me. Let's that's interesting. A lot of action going on. All right. Wait. Let me see. Is it on? Yeah, I was about to say. Okay, so yeah, it's not a futures contract yet. Like they haven't made the derivative in the exchange. So right now, SpaceX is strictly a stock. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Maybe it's not the right. Okay. So yeah. That is crazy though. Up 20 points in a day. Not bad. Not bad, SpaceX. All right. Well, hope you enjoyed. Rewind if you want. Had a couple breakdowns. Didn't really have anything necessarily within my look at silver now. um Very interesting. We're gonna see how this plays overnight, the overnight session. And yeah, not a bad day, but it was a red day. So we gotta learn, right? Come to the market tomorrow and just make sure we're ready to capitalize. Yeah. With that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. If I see y'all tomorrow, if not, so I'll see you next time. Y'all.